Hello YouTube, Justin Boy here. I'm back with another Metal Cardbot review. And today I take a look at Mech Tackle. So out of the box, you get Mech Tackle himself on the left, and you get his metal card weapon on the right. So without further ado, let's get right into, well, let's take a look at Mech Tackle first on his own. Alright, so here is Mech Tackle in its vehicle mode, which takes the form of a dump truck. Now, of course, if you want to, you could call his original Korean name Mega Trucker, if you wish. Of course, here in the States, he's called Mech Tackle. Now, that name will make sense once we get to its robot mode. So let's take a look at Mech Tackle in its vehicle mode. Again, a dump truck. Again, nicely detailed dump truck. It is quite hefty. I will give it that. Despite the fact there's no die cast on this thing. So it is quite hefty, which is honestly impressive. Let's got some orange here. We got the white stripe on the back, which does require lifting a panel to see the whole thing. So, yeah, there you go. Because there's the dump bed here. Now you can obviously tell what these are going to become in robot mode. So you can obviously tell. Got all wheels which roll very nicely. Of course, here's the undercarriage here. So there you go. And here's the eyes here, the trademark visor or windshield eyes, if you will. And, yeah. Now, despite this being a dump truck, can he carry anything? Well, maybe a little bit of things, but you can actually make him carry his metal card weapon, if you wish, which sits perfectly flat if you do some finagling. So yeah, you could do that. So that's something, I guess. So this is technically storage, but it's going to fall off, if you, play with it too much. So, yeah. Now, we'll take a look at his metal card weapon later when we get to the robot mode, so stay tuned for that. So. Now, this guy doesn't have any action features. He just rolls around and looks, cool and, hefty. So, yeah. Without further ado, let's get right to the transformation. Alright, so before we get to the vehicle mode, the robot mode, I forgot to mention in my Blue Star review is that all of the metal Cardbot figures, from Agabus, they all come packaged in robot mode. And, of course, the same applies to the Korean releases. So, but thankfully, the instructions do tell you how to transfer from robot mode to vehicle mode. So, just for example, so, yeah. All right, so, transformation, this guy is pretty easy. It's not complicated for big guys, so, So for start off, we're going to go ahead and flip out what become the feet. So, flip these out here. Of course, we'll flip these gray bits up. Of course, you can tell they become the heels. And then I'm going to come back here and grab this and fold this down like this and swing that down. I got some nice clicky, ratchet joints there, so. And while we're here, we can actually go ahead and before we do that, make sure you fold in the wheels, which of course they do snap into place here. Well, they clip into place, I should say, so like that. And then from here, you're going to flip out these panels here, which will cover up the dump bed. So, actually, before we do that, make sure you flip this toy out all the way first and then fold this in, because that way this hits the panel here. So what you can see, really close to that. So fold the panel in, and then flip up the toe, the foot, so. And then from here, you can split this in half, like that. And then we'll go ahead and twist this around, like this. So, okay, make sure it's setting up properly. Move this up a little bit, okay. Now take these two panels here that I folded out. We're going to fold them in like this. Or actually make sure, these aren't double hinge, by the way, so just make sure you straighten them out first and then fold them in. So, just like that. Now come to the top here and split this in half. You can tell these will become the arms. So we'll start with one arm. So actually, before we do that, make sure there's a panel here that has like the side view mirror, rear view mirror and the black windows on the side. Make sure you flip these out first, because that way it unlocks the whole bit. Because you can see when you fold this down, it reveals these hinges here and joints. So that allows you to do that. So flip this all the way up like this. So it covers up the clip on the back. So do this on the other side. So take some grip. So there we go. Just like that. Well, for that. And like I said before, this will allow you to fold down the arms. So you could fold this down like this and fold it down like this. And then come under here and flip out the fists. Like that. And come on the top here and push this down here. This will reveal the head of Mech Tackle. And I'm actually focus up a little bit so you can see his eyes. You can sort of see his eyes. And there you go. There you have Mech Tackle in robot mode. So let's take a look at Mech Tackle in its raw mode and look up close and personal. So, all right, so you can tell now his name Mech Tackle does make sense now because he's basically designed to look like a football player, as evident by the helmet design. Again, and of course his tackle, because he, like football players do, they tackle, opposing team members. So makes sense. So. Now, we can take a look at the head design a little bit. You can see he does have eyes here, so oops. Obviously got his right there, but now on one of the sides of the helmet is ruined by a screwdriver. Screw here. But if you look at the other side here, it has like a fist icon. It looks like this. Well, from the front. So, yep. And of course, it gets nice detailing here, and not much is revealed, but I do like the fact that these panels here do cover up the dump bed, which I do like that. So again, it's very neat. Makes it clean. Makes it clean. Now you notice that there's one clip on this. There's one tab on the side, and the other one doesn't, which we'll get to that later. So, yeah. I mean, he's quite nice. He's not that bulky, and he's not a brick, which we'll get to his articulation in a second. So, yeah. So. Now, on that, we can get to the articulation. So, I already showed the articulation on his head, which you can tell it's on a ball joint there. So you can do that. So now I'll show one of the arms here. So because the articulation ports are the same as the other ones. So arm swing all the way around. You could flip up, but it does look a little awkward though because transformation. Now, of course, you can tell these are double hinge, but you could use this one here, which is his elbow joint. So you can do that. Now, in case you're wondering, no, there is no wrist articulation because you look closely at the between the wrist and the fist here, which like that rhymes. There is no crease in there, so you can't twist the thing. So, which is rather unfortunate. I think that applies to his Korean release, his original Korean release. Now he does have waist articulation, so that's cool. So he's got legs here, so I should move on. Now, if you want to, it's transformation, but you could do ab crunches if you wish. And yes, the ratchets are very loud, but that's fine because hey, this guy's very, very solid. Don't worry. Actually, let's pull this up out of the way. Okay. Now let's go up that far, which is impressive. Now the legs do go out, but a weird angle because how it's molded. So the same applies. Well, actually, no, I take that back. This actually applies when you fold backwards. Well, it's almost straight, but of course there's knee articulation, but there's not much. But unless you want to untap this and then fold them in, but that again, this is for transformation. So, yeah. Well, the toes, again, transformation, but you can't really do much with them. So, yeah. So you can get this guy into some poses, but at the very least, he's not much of a brick, despite his, his silhouette, So, yeah. Now, he does have he's got some holes in here, which you would think he can hold like a 5mm weapon, which I could bring out maybe a transformer weapon, like this from Alchemist Prime, which you could sort of do that, but it doesn't fit, so, which is rather unfortunate, but speaking of weapon, let's take a look at his Mel card weapon. All right, so here's his Mel card weapon. So you can see we got Mech Tackle here, and of course he's looking to his left there. You guys got his Mel card on the side here. No, if you own the Korean release, it would say Mega Trucker on it. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for the card. So we're gonna go ahead and let me zoom out a little bit. Remove this. And of course, not just with the previous figures I looked at, he does have the same exact emblem on the back. So nice chrome icon in there. Again, pretty neat. So to start, we're gonna have to go ahead and fold these panels down like this, and then come to the back here and fold these panels up like this, and you flip out these panels here as well. So fold them out like this. It kind of looks like a fan. So do that. And there you have his metal card weapon, the Mega Protector. So, which is basically a shield. So, of course, we got this clip on the back, which will bring in Mech Tackle for this one. And the shield here simply just clips right on the side of the shoulder. There you go. Done. So there you go. So you have Mech Tackle with his Mega Protector. So, yeah, it doesn't do much, but I guess, of course, you can make like, wind, like, tornadoes or something like that because of the, the wind blade, the fan blades or something like that. So, yeah. Now I wish he could hold. Now I really wish there was like a handle that he could. They could easily put like a handle in here because it doesn't get in the way of the screw. But you could have hold like this. Well, it'd be kind of pointless because he doesn't have a sword or anything like that. Because really the only weapon he has is just his bare fists. Just his bare fists. That's it. So yeah, that's pretty much all you can do with this card weapon. So yeah. So overall, I recommend Mech Tackle if you can't afford the original Korean release and you want to get this guy from the States without worrying about tariff surcharges or anything like that. So, and let's be grateful for the fact that Agabus, the distribution company, is actually shipping these out in the States. Which, let's be real, let's be grateful for the fact that we're getting Mel Carbot figures that are originally from South Korea into the States. Let's be grateful for that. So yeah. One more thing I want to put before someone in the comments does, that you can actually fit only one weapon you can only fit one weapon in Mech Tackle's hands, which basically it's one of Shadow X's kunai, which again these were rotor blades. You can actually fit both of them in his hands, but just be mindful that it's pretty tight. So there you go. You can actually do that. But now, in case you're also wondering, can you fit Bluster Gales' weapon, which is this one, like the monkey wrench one? Well, unfortunately, you can't. That's because the handle is actually a different shape. It's kind of like a semicircle shape to it. Well, this one's just it's a perfect circle. So, and in case you're questioning, no, the gun barrel has the same exact shape. So basically you can't, make them hold as like a melee weapon. So you can't do that. So just want to point that out. That's what I got to say about Mech Tackle. So again, like I said before, if you can't afford the original Korean release, then go get the American release, which is out right now. So, and it's actually better if you just to avoid, tariffs, tariff surcharges, import duty fees, all that stuff like that. So, yeah. Now, if you want about the price of this guy, from Agabus, it's like around $30. If you were to get the original Korean release of this guy, it would have been like double the price. Because of import fee. Because again, shipping costs and import fees. So, yeah. So that's all I got to say about Mech Tackle. So my next review to this, I'm going to take a look at Steel Hook from Mel Carbot. So yes, I'm going to do another Mel Carbot hero, or Mel Carbot figure, and that will be Steel Hook, a.k.a. Black Hook from the original Korean name. So thank you for watching. Like what you saw, hit the subscribe button and bell icon next to it. You can follow my Twitter and like my Facebook page, links in the description below. And with that, I'll catch you next time.